Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexandra Hernandez. Today we're going to discuss my reflective tourism experience at the Great Barrier Reef. This is a table of content. This presentation is based on my personal experience focused on that day. So my personal tourism experience took place on the 18th of January this year. I have joined to a full-day eco-marine tour to the Great Barrier Reef, departing from Cairns. This was operated by Down Cruise and Dive and was booked through the Cairns Holiday Specialists. In this tour, it was include the activities of snorkeling, introductory scuba dive, and a helicopter fly, although this one was cancelling during the weather conditions. During this tour, I have faced some multiple interpretation challenges as well as some other international attendants where they were included a lack of visual aids or video guides or interpretation, especially for the safety briefings and the environmental information, which leads to all of the international tourists felt confused and unsafe and decided to not participate in the dive or the tour activities. In this experience involves some network stakeholders. Some of those are the tour operators already mentioned. We also have DMOs as at the GBRMPA. And we have also the Queensland Park and Wildlife Services. We have another stakeholders like the TAV and the Cairns Regional Council that are supporting the sustainable tourism strategies. In the hospitality industry, we have some of the big chains hotels like Hilton, Pullman, Accor, and then some big restaurants like the Water Bar and the Salt House. And finally, we have the community sector and the indigenous community that are the ones that create the meaningful storytelling. The key management issue I have identified was the lack of inclusive interpretation during the tour. All critical information like safety briefings, dive instructions, and environmental messages was only delivered on English without any visual aids, QR codes, visual dive training, or any kind of tutorials or brochures in other languages. As an international tourist, I struggled to understand the dive procedures, and my partner, without some other tourists, skipped the activity due to the misinterpretation, confusion, and insecurity. What should be an engaging and full experience to the marine life. It was isolating and a stressful situation for all of those. So could soon highlight that the interpretation should create meaningful connections through clear communication. And moreover, Moscato in 2001 emphasized that meaningful tourism rely on the relevance and also emotional engagement in the multicultural destination like Cairns. Failing to provide inclusive interpretation is not just a gap, it's a serious management challenges that affect safety, long-term destination, and sustainability. To better understand this management issue, I use the LAPA tourism model, which viewed the tourism as an interconnecting flow from the tourist and the travel road and the destination and services. In my experience, the lack of the inclusive interpretation did just not affect the international tourists present that day. It disrupts all of the balance of the tourism system model. To address this issue of limited interpretation, we must rethink how information is designed and delivered, especially in multicultural destinations like Cairns. Ritchie and Crouch in 2003 note that the effective destination management depends on the experience, quality, communication, and resource care. And during my tour, those elements were not fully met. So that is the reason I'm suggesting 3 practical recommendations. The first one is to provide multilingual and multimodal interpretation, like pre-email tours, mobile apps, QR codes, or short videos training and in different languages that support the WORLDCAT and the TEQ strategy that highlight accessibility as a key. The second one is use visual and symbolic communication on board. So such things like pictograms, color code maps, and screens can improve the understanding and the safety, especially for the international tourists. And those are aligned also with the HAM 2007 views that are the interpretation drives into the behavior change. Then we have the third one, that is the impact of stifling and indigenous co-interpretation. So having guides with multilingual skills and involving the community groups in the local activities enrich the experiences. That was already said by Pierce and Son in the 2019, which explained the cultural storytelling builds the satisfaction and identity and create meaningfulness connections. So those strategies together are realistic evidence experience that align with the Queensland Sustainable Tourism goals, and more important, ensure the marine tourism sustainability and create a meaningful experience for the reef and also for the tourist. Two successful examples from Cairns that show how inclusive interpretation, visitor engagement, and sustainability. On the left side, we have the Sailway Port Douglas that use zero-emission sailing and multilingual signage to ensure the accessibility for international tourists, while the crew provides reef interpretation and enhanced learning. On the right side, we have the Rainway Rainforest Cableway that offers 8 different languages for the audio guide and offer also range-led interpretation combining with cultural stories and environmental education. These two cases show how the communication and the interpretation can be elevated with the visitor experiences, and also these are aligned with the expectation promoting sustainability, integrating with the local storytelling and becoming these experiences into a meaningful experiences for them, and this can be also applied for the marine tourists. To conclude, this reflection shows how the lack of the inclusive interpretation during the reef tour that they reduce the safety, comfort, and emotional connection. Without the multilingual resources, visual aids, and cultural support, the experience became meaningless and less engaging and less educational as well. As we can see, the interpretation is just not about the translation of this one. It's about creating the meaningful bonds and connection between the tourist and the destination. When the operator used the visual tools, multilingual content, and local storytelling to elevate the experience for the international visitors. And some of the case studies that are successful experience are the Port Douglas one and the Sky that prove that the inclusive interpretation enhances the learning, the support, the conservation, and they strengthen the destination appeal to the international tourist. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.